Take a closer look at what's at stake during this visit with Andrew Shearer. He's the Senior Advisor on Asia-Pacific Security with the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Andrew, first of all, it's your first time here. Welcome to CGTN Studios in Washington.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Let me begin with the military drills between U.S. and Republic of Korea, as well as what Jim Spellman mentioned, these combat drones that are now deployed in the Republic of Korea. Is this really the right approach to handle the tensions with DPRK? Or, I mean, certainly a lot of countries in the region may see this as another sign of provocation that might ratchet up the tensions even more.
Well, I think it's important to understand that the military drills that are underway are part of a regular annual series of drills between the United States and South Korea. So there's nothing exceptional about that happening, and those exercises are very important to maintain interoperability between the US military and the Korean military, and to preserve deterrence at a time when North Korea, frankly, seems to be careering towards having nuclear weapons and missiles that can carry them a very long way, not only to US bases in countries like Japan and Korea, but also eventually, in the next few years, to the mainland of the United States.
So what about these combat drones, Andrew? It's the first time the U.S. forces have actually made the news of drone movement public. What do you make of that, and why? Why even make it public?
I think what you're seeing is a deliberate effort by the United States to step up the deterrent effect of its presence in South Korea. And I think that reflects the fact that the South Korean government is understandably very nervous when you look at the fact that North Korea has now tested 5 nuclear weapons, 2 in the last year alone, over 20 ballistic missile tests last year. The pace of North Korea's weapon development is growing, and the number of its provocations is growing. We've just seen the extraordinary scene of Kim Jong-nam being executed using VX, one of the world's most toxic nerve agents, in Malaysia. So there's clearly a lot happening in North Korea, and I think the South is increasingly concerned about the threat, and the United States is stepping up its efforts to reassure South Korea.
Another country that has a lot to be concerned about is China.
Yes.
DPRK is right on its border. It doesn't want to see an unstable Pyongyang doing anything irrational. It doesn't want to see a refugee crisis on its borders. So talk to us about China's role and how critical it is in diffusing the tensions.
I think China is deeply conflicted because, on the one hand, as you say, China doesn't want this irresponsible, reckless North Korean behaviour. It's not in China's interest to see North Korea pursue this path, because what it's doing is it's encouraging South Korea and the United States and other allies to step up their defences. For example, the THAAD deployment to South Korea, which China is very unhappy about. But South Korea is doing that, and the United States is doing that in response to North Korea. That's the important thing to bear in mind. The other side of the equation, though, is that China wants to preserve North Korea. China is not interested in a reunified Korean peninsula with US military forces proximate to China's territory. And China's grappling, I think, with this very difficult balancing act.
And we should also add, China has consistently backed tough sanctions against DPRK, and once again, they have said they certainly don't want to see a refugee crisis on their border. Andrew Shearer, thank you so much for being here with us today. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, thanks.